Pach Aegis access control units sometimes exhibit various issues. Common problems include power supply malfunctions, network connectivity problems, software bugs, credential reader failures, lock control malfunctions, and alarming issues. Regarding power supply issues, units may experience power outages or unexpected resets because of faulty power supplies. Network connectivity problems can manifest as devices failing to connect to the network or experiencing frequent disconnections. Software bugs may appear after firmware updates, leading to system crashes or other unexpected behaviors. Credential reader problems may cause readers to malfunction or fail to recognize valid credentials. Lock control issues can result in doors failing to lock or unlock correctly. Finally, alarming issues might involve false alarms being triggered, or alarms failing to trigger when expected. To address power supply problems, first inspect the power supply unit to ensure it provides adequate voltage and current. If the power supply is faulty, replace it with a new one. For network connectivity issues, verify the network infrastructure, including cabling, switches, and routers. Ensure the units have correct IP addresses and appropriate network settings. Using a network analyzer or Pach Aegis may help troubleshoot connectivity issues. If software bugs are suspected, contact Patch technical support to report the problems you are encountering. They may be able to provide firmware updates to resolve known bugs. When faced with credential reader problems, test the readers with multiple credentials to isolate the issue. Clean the reader lenses and ensure they are properly aligned. If necessary, replace faulty readers. For lock control problems, inspect the locks and strike plates to ensure they are functioning correctly. Check the wiring and ensure that all connections are secure. To address alarming issues, review the system configuration and confirm that the alarm settings are correct. Test the sensors and detectors to verify they are operating properly. It is recommended to use high-quality power supplies and network components. Also, keep the firmware up to date with the latest releases. Before putting the system into production, test it thoroughly. Maintain a log of all issues encountered and contact Patch technical support for assistance. If persistent problems cannot be resolved, consider using alternative access control systems. Joining online forums or user groups dedicated to Pach access control products can provide additional support and troubleshooting ideas. Attending industry conferences or webinars can help stay informed about the latest developments and best practices. For complex installations or troubleshooting, consider hiring a certified access control technician. In more detail, let's discuss power supply problems. Defective power supplies often lead to the units rebooting unexpectedly or failing to power on at all. Measure the voltage output of the power supply using a multimeter. It should match the specified voltage, typically 12 volts or 24 volts direct current. Check the amperage rating of the power supply. Make sure it meets or exceeds the requirements of the access control unit and connected devices. Replace the power supply if it's not providing the correct voltage or amperage. The next thing we'll talk about is network connectivity issues. These can prevent the access control unit from communicating with the central management system. Verify the Ethernet cable is properly connected to the unit and the network switch. Check the link lights on both the unit and the switch. Ensure they are lit, indicating a valid connection. Use a ping command to test network connectivity. Open a command prompt and type ping followed by the IP address of the access control unit. If the ping fails, there may be a problem with the network configuration. Check the IP address, subnet mask, and default gateway settings on the unit. These settings must be compatible with the network. Consider using a network scanner to identify any IP address conflicts. Two devices on the network should not have the same IP address. It is possible for a defective network interface card to cause problems. If all else fails, try replacing the network card. Next up are the common software bugs. Firmware bugs can cause a range of problems, including system crashes, unexpected behavior, and security vulnerabilities. Visit the Pach Company website and download the latest firmware update for the access control unit. Follow the instructions in the firmware update guide to install the update. Always back up the existing configuration before performing a firmware update. This will allow you to restore the system to its previous state if something goes wrong. Read the release notes for the firmware update to identify any known issues or compatibility concerns. If you encounter a software bug, report it to Pach Technical Support. Provide as much detail as possible, including the steps to reproduce the bug. Now let's shift our focus to credential reader problems. These issues can prevent users from gaining access to authorized areas. Inspect the credential reader for any physical damage or obstructions. Clean the reader lens with a soft, dry cloth. Test the reader with multiple credentials to rule out a problem with a specific card or fob. Verify the credential format is supported by the access control unit. The unit may not recognize credentials that use an unsupported format. Check the wiring connections between the reader and the access control unit. Loose or damaged wires can cause communication problems. Try using a different reader to see if the problem is with the reader itself or the access control unit. Lock control issues can prevent doors from locking or unlocking properly. Inspect the door hardware, including the lock, strike plate, and hinges. Make sure everything is properly aligned and functioning smoothly. Check the wiring connections between the access control unit and the electric strike or magnetic lock. Loose or damaged wires can prevent the lock from operating correctly. Verify the voltage output from the access control unit to the lock. The voltage should match the requirements of the lock. Check the settings in the access control software to ensure the lock is properly configured. The software may allow you to adjust the lock release time or configure other lock-related settings. If the door is difficult to open or close, the problem may not be with the access control unit. Try adjusting the door closer or lubricating the hinges. Alarming issues often result in false alarms or failures to trigger when expected. Review the alarm settings in the access control software. Make sure the settings are appropriate for the environment and the security requirements. Test the sensors and detectors that are connected to the alarm system. Verify they are functioning properly and are not being triggered by environmental factors. Check the wiring connections between the sensors, detectors, and the access control unit. Loose or damaged wires can prevent the alarm system from functioning correctly. Consider using a multimeter to measure the voltage and current on the alarm circuits. This can help you identify any shorts or open circuits. Ensure the batteries in the wireless sensors are fresh and have sufficient charge. Weak batteries can cause unreliable performance. Check the event logs in the access control software to see if there are any patterns or trends in the alarm activity. This can help you identify the source of the problems. Now, for the use of quality power supplies, it is very important. Access control units and their related devices require a stable and reliable power source. Invest in high-quality power supplies that are designed for continuous operation. Choose power supplies that have built-in surge protection and overcurrent protection. These features can help protect the access control unit from damage caused by power surges or other electrical problems. It is also important to consider using an uninterruptible power supply, or UPS. A UPS can provide backup power in the event of a power outage, allowing the access control system to continue operating. When keeping the firmware up to date, firmware updates often contain important security patches and bug fixes. These updates can help protect the access control system from vulnerabilities and improve its overall performance. Visit the Pach Company website regularly to check for new firmware updates. Follow the instructions in the firmware update guide to install the updates. Always back up the existing configuration before performing a firmware update. This will allow you to restore the system to its previous state if something goes wrong. Thorough system testing is essential before putting the system into production. Before deploying the access control system, conduct thorough testing to ensure that all components are working properly. Test all of the features of the system, including credential reading, door locking, and alarm monitoring. Use a variety of credentials to test the credential reading functionality. Verify that all doors lock and unlock properly. Test the alarm system by simulating different alarm conditions. Ensure that all of the system logs are properly configured. Maintain a detailed log of all issues encountered. This is key. When troubleshooting access control problems, it is helpful to have a detailed log of all issues encountered. This log can be used to track patterns and identify the root cause of problems. The log should include the date and time of the issue, a description of the issue, and any steps taken to resolve the issue. It is also helpful to include any error messages or codes that were displayed. Contacting Pach technical support. Consider seeking assistance if you are unable to resolve an access control problem on your own. Pach technical support has the expertise and resources to help you troubleshoot complex problems. When contacting technical support, provide as much information as possible about the problem. This will help them to diagnose the problem and provide a solution. Be prepared to answer questions about the system configuration, the steps you have taken to troubleshoot the problem, and any error messages or codes that were displayed. If persistent problems cannot be resolved, consider using alternative access control systems. If you are experiencing persistent problems with the Pach Aegis access control system, it may be necessary to consider alternative systems. Research different access control systems to find one that meets your needs and budget. Consider the features, reliability, and support offered by different systems. Talk to other users of access control systems to get their recommendations. Keep in mind that no access control system is perfect, and all systems will require some level of maintenance and support. The goal is to find a system that is reliable, easy to use, and provides the level of security that you need. These systems are complex and require expertise and knowledge of IT and electrical skills to properly install and maintain them.